I like my mom to cut my hair so the kids to stop making fun of me.
To say you should change your hair, you should make it straight because it's too puffy.
Why would you save afro hair?
She smells like patchouli oil. Or weed. Yeah, maybe weed.
What about that Hannah Montana wig that you wear? Why do you like to wear that Hannah Montana wig?
Because it's cool.
Is it because you like Hannah Montana or because you don't like your hair?
Because I don't like my hair.
I like dudes like either like imply that like my like pubic hair texture is like, oh, like they literally be like, oh, so like is your hair like the same as it is in your head?
Hard. It makes me feel like a lesser person. You know, like somehow the hair on top of my head means that I need to be watched more closely.
Before there was European contact, Africans, mostly on the west coast of Africa, where most African Americans trace their ancestors, the hair was almost like a person's social security number, in that all parts of their identity was found in the hair. The hair could tell somebody what level of, like, what place in society, what family one belonged to, what your job was. For men, there were certain hairstyles that signified they were going off to war. For women who were married to these men, there were certain hairstyles that signified that their husbands were off at war. So hairstyles told people everything about a person. It was very interesting because when we wrote our book, Hair Story: Untangling the Roots of Black Hair in America, one of the ways we actually found out about these very intricate hairstyles was from reading European explorers' journals and diaries. They were so moved and impressed by the hairstyles themselves, but that didn't stop them from actually shaving the heads of the slaves. Supposedly this was done for hygiene purposes, but really what they were effectively doing was eliminating one of their most primary identity markers. I mean, there was a very deliberate intention to make Africans feel inferior. So it wasn't just one person saying, hey, you're ugly. The scientific community was even involved in classifying black hair as closer to animal-like and not even human. Any features that were traditionally considered, you know, African features, skin color, all of these things were considered so negative, and they were the things that made Africans inferior, to the point where it became where once the hair was revered, eventually Black Americans began to dislike their hair. So before there was European contact, people also thought the hair, because it was the closest thing to the heavens, that the gods would speak to people through their hair. So it was also sacred space, and for that reason, people wouldn't let just anybody touch their hair.
It's almost like every time I have my hair in my afro state, as right now I have it in Marley Twist, but whenever I have it in afro, people are fascinated by it, and I don't understand why. I mean, I do, but then I also don't understand like why people feel the need to invade a person's personal space where like they typically wouldn't if their hair looked similar to what they were used to.
I once was at this like weird music show in Boston over the summer, and this like white boy who was flirting with me just straight up stuck his hand in my hair. And I was like, instantly in that moment, I was like, whatever you had going for you, like, evaporated. Like, you're at negative 100 right now. Like, people really feel like they can just touch me sometimes. In a lot of ways, it like makes me feel like a zoo animal. Like, where people are like, oh, like, I want to touch this sheep. Like, it's so, like, people have literally touched my hair or like have wanted to and have referred to, like, wow, it's like really soft. Like, you know, like animal fur, like sheep. And I'm like, so like comparing me to a sheep is like not a great thing to do.
You know, even today in modern times, Black people are, you know, it's almost a joke now, but it's very serious that, you know, whoever touches their hair, whoever touches one's hair is, you know, it's not something that you just let anybody do. It might harken back to this cultural concept of, you know, only certain people should be allowed to touch your most sacred part of your body.
I mean, it just like evokes, like, again, centuries of oppression and like ways of thinking about Black bodies as being like less than, literally we were like 3/5 of a person, as being like less than like other people.
Even people that I thought I was really close to, just every single day took it upon themselves without my permission or consent to just touch my hair. And it almost felt dehumanizing, because that's what you do to an animal, you know, like you pet a dog, you pet a cat, you don't pet a person. As a kid, I was always like natural up until probably like age 11 in 6th grade. That was when the peer pressure set in, and I was like, I need a relaxer. I have to have a relaxer. All the kids have straight hair. My stepmom sat me like in the upstairs in the bathroom and like had the relaxer on my head and like decided to relax my eyebrows too, just so they would match. It was a ridiculous idea in hindsight. And so from then up until probably my freshman year of high school, I had relaxers, and I would straighten my hair and I would flat iron it and put it through all kinds of chemical manipulation.
In 7th grade, I got introduced to the flat iron, and that was my life from like 7th grade to like kind of like the beginning of college freshman year. I wanted to like do like the trendy like hair things that all my peers were doing, and all my peers were white pretty much, and I couldn't do that with like curly hair, you know? I couldn't do the little like thing where you have bangs and you like pin the bangs back. Like that was a big thing in 7th grade. I couldn't do that with my natural hair. I remember in 6th grade, I didn't know what nappy meant at the time, but there was this one black girl in my class, and she clearly hated herself, but she was talking to one of the white boys about like our hair. He asked why our hair was different because hers was like super relaxed, and she was like, "Oh, her hair's nappy," and I just look at them. I didn't know what that meant. So I was just ignoring her because I didn't like her anyway. But it was like in retrospect, it's like, oh, nice. Bad hair is like the nappier, like coarser, kinkier type of hair. I feel like that is a term more used in the Black community, and since my family doesn't have that many Black people in it, and most of my peers were white, that was not a term that I heard until I came to college.
Kinkier, more like, I guess the hair types, I think it's like 4C might be the most kinky, is like bad hair, and then as you get further in the spectrum towards like looser curls, it's like better hair. I guess it's just about how tightly your hair is curled, and also I guess what styling options you have because of that.
Well, the structure of natural Black women's hair or Black men's hair, it is very different than other people's hair. And what people don't realize is that the different textures grow differently. So your follicle is shaped differently. Okay, so there are flat follicles, there are wide flat follicles, hair follicles. So your hair will grow out based off of the shape of your hair follicle. So that's why now people are saying like, you know, there's 4A, 4B, 4C textures for natural hair, you know, and it goes on and on and on. But yeah, so curly, kinky, I know those words are used a lot for natural hair, for Black women's hair. When you look at a white woman's hair, they might have more straight hair, wavy, and it's because they're European hair, because their follicles are different. And I mean, if you want to just be scientific about it, that's what it comes down to. Different follicles, you know, and it goes down to genetics. You know, if your parents have kinky curly hair, then you're gonna have kinky curly hair too.
Good hair is like technically what I have, where your curls are like loose enough so that you can actually see the curls. And they have like little baby hairs that just come down. And like when you wet it, it just like curls up.
I think it's stupid that we like think about certain people's hair as being better. Like I guess I get a pass because I'm like Caribbean descendant, so my hair generally when it's longer is like straighter than most Black people and less kinky.